Hello YouTube, Inside Jacob's Mind here. As usual, sorry for not making videos in a while, blah 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 blah. Let's get it fucking over with and let's talk about Non-Stop.
Someone on this flight is threatening to kill someone every 20 minutes unless $150 million is transferred to this account number.
We're midway across the Atlantic. How do you kill someone in a crowded plane and get away with it?
Now I had pretty low expectations for the movie, although my friend really wanted to see it, and I thought, fuck it, there's not really much else good on. You know, it's getting pretty bad reviews from critics, although positive reviews from audiences, so I was intrigued by it. Non-Stop is a suspense action thriller directed by Jean-Colette Serra, if that's how I pronounce it. I don't know, he's French or something, so I probably haven't pronounced that right. Starring Liam Neeson and Julianne Moore, Michelle Dockery, Scoot McNairy, blah blah blah. Basically, it's an action thriller played out at 40,000 feet. Liam Neeson's character, Bill Marks, is an air marshal who's a retired cop. He's an alcoholic, he's paranoid. But he's an air marshal and he's on this flight, and he starts getting text messages from this guy. Doesn't know who it is, you know, it's on a secure network and everything. He starts getting text messages that, I know who you are, freaking, basically transfer $150 million into this bank account, or I'm going to start killing a passenger on this plane every 20 minutes. And from there, it leads to just an awesome suspense thriller, because let me tell you, I really enjoyed this movie. It really knocked me out and blew away my expectations. What you need to take into account seeing this movie, you need to leave your logic and brain at the door. Not so much your brain, but your logic, and, you know, you got to suspend your disbelief a bit, because if you're going to go in here trying to criticize everything, every little unrealistic thing, then you're not going to enjoy it. Because I went into it just expecting a fun action thriller, and I actually got more than that. This movie is really tense. I mean, I'd rather call it like a slow-burning thriller. Like, it's not straight away, flat-out action, bang-bang explosions. It's a real, you know, mystery. Who did it? What's going on? And I just love the way it was put together. For starters, it was really well filmed. I mean, there was shaky hand, but it was done well. It kind of reminded me of how it was done in Captain Phillips. Rather than being a cliched gimmick, it accentuated the mood, and it was, I don't know, the cinematography was great. I felt really in the moment. I felt the suspense. I felt the terror. It was very sleekly put together, just the editing with all the messages, I don't know, it looked really good. It was well acted. Liam Neeson, that dude, man, that dude just plays a great action hero, and he's no exception in this, and he's not just your typical save-the-day hero. He has problems, he has a past that you gradually find more and more about, and despite the fact that he's not necessarily a great guy, you come to care about him and really root for him, and just it takes some twists and turns and everything. The the bank account number turns out to be Bill Marks's, Liam Neeson's characters, and it turns into a plot of him like someone trying to frame him and everything, and everyone on the plane sort of starts to think he's the terrorist and everything. Now I'm not going to go into too many details. I mean, it's hard to explain this movie without giving away spoilers, because so much of the great things about it are spoilers. So I'm basically just going to shut up about the plot now and just talk about how great the movie was. I felt in the theatre, I felt tense, I was on the edge of my seat. Well, not the edge of the seat, that'd be uncomfortable. I was on, like, you know, the metaphorical edge of my seat. I was into it, I knew what was happening. I felt, you know, I felt warm, I felt in the moment. I felt affected by it. It was intense, man, and I loved that. The whole time I was sitting there wondering who was gonna do it. It kept us guessing. Me and my friends were in the theater discussing, like, oh, what if it's this guy, and like, what's gonna happen here? I mean, coming to flaws, it's not it's not realistic. It's not a realistic movie. I mean, it is for a little while, but then maybe in the third act it sort of descends into, you know, unbelievable sort of things, like, how did this happen, how did they manage to do this, why is this character saying this, the dialogue's pretty corny, and I know I like corny dialogue, but I don't think it worked. I don't think it worked for this movie. I don't know if this is necessarily a problem, but I'm kind of disappointed because this could have been so much better. I mean, don't deny, I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was great. But there are things they could have done to make this a genuinely great movie. Like, if they just put a bit more time and thought into the villain's motives and just the entire the way the situation played out, because it was really interesting and fun to piece together, and it just sort of fell flat at the ending. And I think if they put a little bit more time into, like, working out the motives, justifying what happened, how it happened, and why it happened. I mean, I'm not saying spoon-feed it all to us. I'm just saying make it a bit more plausible. Make it a bit more realistic. You know, just make it more realistic, more grounded, because the more grounded the movie is... it's funny I'm saying grounded because the movie's on a plane. Ha ha ha! Make it more grounded in reality, because that gets you more into the situation. It makes you feel like, holy shit, this could happen. This is like a genuine threat. This is scary. I mean, it could have been scary what was happening, but just the corniness and unrealisticness of it didn't let it elevate to that level of greatness and drama. I mean, I didn't really like the ending. I mean, I didn't hate the ending, but I think it could have been a lot better. The characters sort of just laughed off what happened, and you know, it wasn't. They could have taken this movie in a really great dramatic path, and they didn't. The first half was a brilliant setup for a real dramatic thriller, and I think they could have done something with it, but it stuck to its conventions as an action movie, and you know, I can't really blame it for doing that. And I'm not shitting on the movie because I loved it. The first half of the movie was probably some of my favourite, some of the best cinema I've seen all year. I've seen about 5 movies so far this year. But it was intense, it was brilliant, and even though it did fall off in the last half, it never lost me. It never lost me. I was still into the story, I still wanted to know what happened. I just think there are some improvements they could have made, and that's about it, really. You know, great acting from Liam Neeson. His character was awesome. I don't really get the point of Julianne Moore's character, despite the fact of just being a friend to him, but she was good in it nonetheless. Michelle Dockery was good as the flight attendant, and Lupita Nyong'o actually had a role in this as the flight attendant, which kind of... I thought that was pretty cool. I think they made this before 12 Years a Slave, because, you know, she wasn't a huge character, but now that she's really famous, she'd probably be, you know what I mean. Anyway, let's get to rating this movie. Non-Stop is an awesome, intense action thriller that could have improved a lot. I'm going to give this movie an 8 out of 10. Now, you may think that I'm just being really generous, because last year I was like that. I was very, very generous, but I genuinely enjoyed this, and if it held the intensity and caliber of what it was in the first half of the movie for the rest of it, then it would have been damn close to giving it a perfect score. It's just the little unrealisticness and corniness. I don't think corniness is a word, but yeah, there's just some minor things they could have done to make this go from a good action thriller to a genuinely brilliant action thriller. You know, just that I'm thinking right now about directions it could have taken and how good it really could have been. But nonetheless, I enjoyed it. I'm glad I went to see it, and I really do recommend that you go see it too. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos and shit.
I'm not hijacking this plane. I'm trying to save it.